Welcome back. In the previous lesson, you have learned how to use lists to store multiple tasks and how to access individual items within those lists. But what if you have a whole list of tasks and you want to perform the same action on each one? Typing out the same code repeatedly for each task can be tedious and inefficient too. That's where for loops come in. In this lesson, you'll learn how to use a for loop to automate the repetition of tasks, making your code cleaner and more efficient. A for loop is a control flow statement that allows you to repeat a block of code for each item in a list. It's a powerful tool that helps you avoid redundancy in your code. So let's start by looking at the basic structure of a for loop. It says for item in list name colons and then code to repeat for each item. Here is how it works. The item is a variable that takes on the value of each element in the list one by one. The list name is the list you are iterating over. The code inside the loop runs once for each item in the list. Imagine you have a list of tasks you need to complete during the day. Instead of writing code for each task separately, you can use a for loop to automate the process. Let's start with a list of tasks. So here is our list. It says send a reminder email, attend the team meeting, review the project proposal, and prepare the budget report. Now, let's say you want to print each task along with a motivational message. Instead of doing this, print task, send a reminder email, you got this. Print task, attend the team meeting, and then review the project proposal, prepare the budget report, and so on. You can use a for loop to achieve the same result in a much more efficient way. For this, type this code that says for task in task list, print f task and then the variable name and then you got this. Now let's run this together. So you see it has the same effect as these 4 lines. You can always modify this code according to your variables. This loop will print out the motivational message for each task in the task list. For loops become even more powerful when combined with AI functions. Suppose you want to get detailed steps for each task from an AI model. Instead of calling the AI function multiple times, you can loop through your list of tasks and get the steps for each one. Here's how you can do it. The loop goes through each task in the task list. The prompt variable is updated with the current task, and then the AI function print LLM response and then prompt is called with the prompt, generating steps for each task. For this, you will need an LLM library first. Moving on, you can also add conditional logic inside a for loop to make your code more dynamic. For example, let's say you want to print a different message depending on the task. For this, use this code. In this code, the if statement checks if the word email is in the list. If it is, a specific message about email is printed. Otherwise, a general motivational message is printed. So it says task, schedule team meeting, stay focused, and then update project timeline, stay focused. Moving on to looping through a list of numbers. For loops are not limited to lists of strings. You can also loop through a list of numbers. Let's say you want to calculate the time required to complete each task if each one takes a different amount of time. Let's look at an example. This loop will print out the time required for each task. So it says time required 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45, and then 20. Sometimes you might have a situation where you need to loop through a list within another list. This is called a nested loop. For example, suppose you have a list of teams and a list of tasks for each team. You can use nested loops to print out each task for every item. In this example, the outer loop goes through each team, and the inner loop goes through each task and prints it for the current team. If you look at the output, it says task for team A, review project, attend meeting, and submit report, and then task for team B, and then for team C. So to conclude, for loops are an essential tool in programming. especially when dealing with repetitive tasks. By using for loops, you can automate the process, reduce redundancy, and write more efficient code. So whether you are looping through a list of tasks, interacting with AI models, or managing complex workflows, for loops provide a powerful way to handle repetition. In the next lesson, we'll require more advanced looping techniques and see how they can be applied in real-world scenarios. For now, try for loop with as many examples as you can.